What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? I'm going to get this out because the transfer portal officially opens tomorrow. So I wanted to give a little transfer target update as some guys at West Virginia have offered now. You can find, some of these names over on, our site that we're part of the network there at wvsportsnow.com. Articles on, each of these individual offers that I'm going to detail as far as some of the transfer targets for West Virginia potentially. And then some other names that I've added myself. Right now only lower level school players can enter the portal, and graduate transfers or players whose coaches have, made moves in the coaching carousel can enter the portal. But with that, West Virginia has offered some of those players. Got a list that includes some of those. Also, some other ones that I've added that have potential ties to West Virginia that I think West Virginia could potentially target or just wanted to put on the list due to them being in the portal and have those ties. And then in addition to that, of course, I wanted to update the transfer out list. Remember, I told you guys I'm going to try and keep a running list of transfers out for WVU, transfers in. I know you guys probably seen recently tight end Mike O'Laughlin entering the transfer portal. I'll start off with that news here in a second, share the screen with you guys, and let you guys read the article there on WVU Sports Now about Mike O'Laughlin entering the transfer portal. But transfer portal opening this week, so wanted to give an update on some potential transfer targets for West Virginia that they already have, and I may do another one here in the coming week or so and update this again. But all right, so getting into it here with the first storyline, I wanted to share with you guys, of course, as far as transfer news goes. West Virginia has had 3 players transfer out. Now it's 4, with Mike O'Laughlin entering the transfer portal for the West Virginia Mountaineers. A lot of people may not know this. Actually, the second time that Mike O'Laughlin has entered the transfer portal. He entered it when Dana Holgerson left and Neil Brown first came in, but decided to come back because that's the one thing, you got to always keep in mind, especially this year when it comes to the transfer portal, is players can enter and then return to the team, because I've heard that a lot of teams' rosters, not just West Virginia specifically, a lot of the roster, maybe even close to half, a third, whatever you want to say, is going to at least enter the transfer portal, because now with NIL, I think these players could enter the transfer portal, see what offers they can get, then they can go back to their current school, kind of see if they can match that. It's going to be that type of game right now in college football. I think we're going to see that this offseason for the first time. But having said that, Mike O'Laughlin, a player who's really been struggling with injuries, he had said in the past he was considering retiring, has decided to enter the transfer portal, been the Mountaineers starting tight end, but has been injured about each of the past 3 seasons, if I'm not mistaken. And here's an article from Mike Ostie over at WV Sports Now talking about him entering the transfer portal that you guys can check out there. He had a great, let me see if I can pull it up here, a great statement that he released, Mike O'Laughlin did. I believe it was on his Twitter, Instagram, one of the two. But as you guys can see here, I won't read it for you guys because it's pretty long. You see 3 pages here. He released almost a little bit of an essay about his career and his injury struggles and how thankful he is, to Morgantown and West Virginia University. And I think that he was really, a hard-nosed guy, kept fighting back from those injuries. And when he played, he was a great player. So I hopefully wish him the best. If he doesn't retire and ends up somewhere else, hopefully he has a great season. But having said that, now let me show you guys my next thing that I wanted to show you guys. Of course, as I said, I'm going to update you guys throughout the season on the transfers out and transfers in, trying to keep a running list of it. Also going to do the same for the West Virginia roster throughout the offseason, try and keep a running list of it as well. I'll start that, once National Signing Day is over and West Virginia has the commits in and we kind of know what West Virginia's team is going to look like in the spring. I'll start putting out roster updates periodically throughout the offseason, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whenever, it needs to be updated with transfers coming in, transfers going out, because it's going to be a theme throughout the offseason. You're going to have a wave now when the portal opens here, but then again, after spring football, there will be another wave. So will be plenty of updates on this throughout the season. But in terms with that, let me show you guys the running list I have for you guys, and then I want to talk about some potential targets for West Virginia. Transfers out so far for West Virginia. I've detailed this, in the past. Of course, we'll continue to update it as it goes along. And as transfers come in, I will also update that as well. And in regards to that, like I said, I'm going to scroll down here on another page. I've got the transfer targets for West Virginia, or at least what I believe to be potential transfer targets in some cases, and others West Virginia has already offered. Like I said, you can find that information on WV Sports Now, among other West Virginia sites, of course. But transfers out so far: defensive back Mumu Ben Wahad, tight end Corbin Page, defensive back Charles Woods. Those have been detailed in the past. And then, of course, now you add Mike O'Laughlin to the list. So thus far, we got these 4 on the way out. All right. Now let's get into the potential transfer targets right here for West Virginia. I'm going to try and break down by position as they kind of pop up. Like I said, some of these West Virginia has offered. I'll try and detail which ones that those are as I go through here. But starting at wide receiver position, we know West Virginia's going to need to add something there. Bryce Ford Wheaton moving on. We don't know the status of Sam James yet. But starting with wide receiver, Jimmy Horn Jr., West Virginia has offered him transfer from South Florida. Highly regarded. Good season. Tyrese Chambers, another one West Virginia has offered, a wide receiver from Florida International. Dre McCray, a wide receiver from Austin Peay, West Virginia has offered. Grant DeBose, a wide receiver from Charlotte, West Virginia has offered. Theo Weiss, I'm not sure if West Virginia has offered him yet or not, from Oklahoma. And then Ollie Jennings added on this list because he just recently entered the transfer portal. We know his West Virginia ties, started his career here, went to Old Dominion, had a great, couple of years there, and has hit the portal. I don't know if he would come back to West Virginia, honestly, in my personal opinion. I think the reason he transferred out was maybe some differences with the staff. I think a lot of that staff's probably still here, but with those ties, you never know. They may have not burnt that bridge. They may reach out and see, kind of fill it out. But in my opinion, I don't see him coming back to West Virginia, but I would love to see him do so. I think he's a talented player, but put him on here because of the ties, obviously. Tight end, West Virginia has offered a man named Kyle Morlock from a Division III school named Shorter. Offensive lineman Gunnar Britton from Western Kentucky and Ajani Cornelius from Rhode Island, West Virginia has offered. Defensive lineman, West Virginia has offered two of them, both two players, from Western Michigan on the defensive line, those being Andre Carter and Braden Fisk. Also offered Shane Copes from Dartmouth and Anthony Goodlow from Tulsa. And here's the one I think everybody's probably most interested in. The last position that I've got potential targets for right now is among transfers, and that's defensive backs. I think we all know West Virginia needs to add some depth there. For one, they've got some young guys that may step up next season in those positions. When you think about Jacoby Spells, Andrew Wilson Lamp, they looked pretty decent. And of course, Malachi Ruffin will be back for a senior season. It is believed at this time anyway for West Virginia. So you've got a couple of guys there, but you're going to need to add depth. And more importantly, West Virginia is going to need to hit on these defensive back transfers. I think that's one of the things that hurt West Virginia last year was they missed on, the defensive back transfers they tried to add. The one way I've tried to compare it is I think West Virginia, if you look at the basketball team, not this season, but the season prior, they got some transfers from lower level schools and it didn't really work out and they missed. And then I think this year, if you look at the basketball team as it's constructed, they've gotten more Power 5 transfers, and it seems like they're going to be a much better team this season because of that. So I'm not saying that West Virginia football needs to necessarily get more Power 5 transfers. I hope that they do, but I'm saying they definitely need to do a better job. I think they need to recognize that they missed, much like Bob Huggins did on the basketball side, and went out and got some better ones. And hopefully West Virginia can do that, particularly here in the defensive backfield. And here are some of the players West Virginia has offered or I think may be interested in. I think the first two here are the two that have been offered, and the other two I think are some guys that may come along the way. I'll describe why momentarily, but you got Kenny Solomon from Tulsa and Montre Miller from Kent State as the two that West Virginia has offered, I believe, transfers. And then J.J. Roberts from Wake Forest has entered the portal. He's a defensive back, and he's a West Virginia native. So you got to believe that we should reach out as a staff, and there's potential of him maybe to want to come back to his home state and finish his college career at, the state's university there in Morgantown, hopefully. So I put him on there for that potential reason. And then J.Q. Hardaway from Cincinnati is a player that's in the portal. And West Virginia, I think that there's potential to go after him as well. But West Virginia going to need to add some defensive backs. So appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, I'm Jordan Cruz. And until next time, let's go Mountaineers.